2012 saw the release of Sword Art Online anime, one of the probably biggest shows to come out at the time, with 3 seasons now, several games, many collaborations, and also order scale. Sword Art Online returns to the big screen with Sword Art Online Progressive, Aria of A Starless Night. My name is Oki Roxas and welcome to my first, probably soon to be more reviews of movies, anime, and kind of anything I'm interested in. Because I want to do more than just do playthroughs and DSP stuff, which comes to my terms of locales. So, welcome to my first review. So this review is going to be structured in 3 segments. Four actually. What is progressive, the review, the spoiler segment, and what's to come. So let's begin. What is Sword Art Online Progressive? Well, Sword Art Online Progressive is the kind of more expanded version of the events of Aincrad. It's not in a sense a complete retelling of Aincrad per se. It's more of filling in the gaps of but actually the main series. As true to popular belief, and what people might not believe, the events of the light novel was always been the events of the 44th and 45th floors, the battle with Heathcliff, and the battle with Heathcliff, as well as the game being cleared, as well as the stories involving Silica, Lisbeth, Yui, and Sachi, as well as the Murder Safe Zone story. Progressive is not a complete retelling of Aincrad as I mentioned before, and it's not to be confused with a Brotherhood-like season or series. That is what Progressive is. It's serving kind of a more expanded story that would never really have to be adapted in full until now. So, it's time we talk about the movie, as I did get a chance to see it today, or at the time of this recording, I saw it yesterday. So, this was my first time I got to see SAO in the big screen, as I missed it out on seeing Ordo Scale, when that was the big movie to come out at the time. So, how about we begin with talking about this movie? And boy, it was great to see this. And I really hope that there are going to be some dub screenings soon, because I really want to hear the dubs soon. So let's begin with a little bit what this movie was. Now, for the first time when it comes to SEO, I actually know the source material for this one the first time. So I can talk a little bit about what was seen in the movie. Sorry if you're hearing a phone, I just kind of look for something to keep track of while I am so I have something to talk about. Anyway, the progressive movie is mostly told is going to be told about how the progressive movies are going to work. It's that they're mostly going to be kind of told from us perspective, or at least how I think they're going to work the movies into not being the same story that we, I guess, somewhat saw in terms of SEO. So this movie, of course, introduced to the brand new character, and kind of will serve kind of as our game first character, being Mito, who is a scythe-wielding beta tester and a friend of Asuna. Now, we don't really know. Now, the thing that's always interesting to know is that we don't know much about Asuna's school life or friends prior to prior to us being introduced to her in the first season, as we already know about that Asuna does have I guess you could say a decent, well-mannered life, albeit having a mother who will has a lot baking on her. And that's something to take into consideration about Asuna, is that we're getting to see the girl who would later become the person who would fight in the underworld. And seeing the young Asuna, it's hard to believe this is the same girl because she's so fun in this movie. Well, when she's not almost dying, she's actually a very fun character in this one. It's good to see this very different girl, in a light that we surprisingly don't see much of her. It's just where she's not being serious, or where she's not having her moments to feel, down on herself or worried of things happening, or anytime something bad happens to Kirito that she has to go and get her boy back. It's interesting to see Asuna's origins, the best way to put it, and seeing this girl grow up to become one of the best players in SEO. So let's talk about the movie a bit. Let's talk about the movie first. So this was interesting to kind of seeing this movie come out, because and this was interesting to kind of see the Aria of A Starless Night adapted. Sorry. So I did read this part of the light novel prior to the movie coming out. I can confirm to you that this is how it ended, compared to how the anime episode ended. Instead of Kirito solving the party with him and Asuna and telling her to go join a guild and to hope to find get stronger, Asuna decided to follow Kirito as she now has a reason to live, and she wants to get stronger. So she of course feels like, if I follow Kirito, I might get stronger. Seeing kind of the reasons why she becomes very loyal to why she falls in love for him and why she cares for him. Sorry. It's pretty late at night when I'm doing this recording, because I kind of want to get all my thoughts out before I forget them all. And I forget this movie for like a couple of months until the release of it. So, first thing to take consideration about Asuna's family life is we kind of got an idea that Asuna is from a well-mannered family, and that her mother has a lot of expectations on her to have good grades and also go to a good school, and she's putting a lot of kind of like focus. Like, she also has to be on time to eat, she has to be on time to come down for breakfast. You really are seeing the fact that Asuna has a lot of things riding on her, because she is the only daughter of the Yuki family, and a lot is put on her when it comes to expectations by her mother, which we kind of learn is probably to do with the fact she didn't have a well-mannered, good life when it came to her grandfather, grandfather. So we're introduced to Asuna's friend, Misumi, who is revealed to be a beta tester of SEO. We pretty much know that there is a lot of stuff that's riding on a lot of the Aincrad survivors. And we can say Mito is, and I'll talk about it later, about Mito, and why I think she's she is in the main series. Mito and Asuna are good friends. They're pretty much very close. When I mean close, I mean this. I feel like I'm 100% that Asuna could be that Asuna is already had been showing those signs for long, and I think the fact there is a recent art of Asuna and Misumi says enough that says, are we implying? If we're implying what we are implying, I don't think anyone will mind. I think Yuki was basically the sign of it, and then the Yuna kiss on the cheek was enough to say, "Yep, I believe it." So it's good. One thing to think is that Asuna is a noob. Asuna is very much a noob, as we get to see a lot of that noobness. That she is very much a noob. She's not very good at fighting games, or she's not very good at strategy, which she's not very good at strategy, or at least not good as good. She's not very good of, MMO 101, and I think you could say she gets a little bit. She is a little bit of, I guess you could say she gets a little bit over, I guess not overzealous, but over bit goes a bit overboard. Buying some very interesting things, that buying both a coat, buy a cloak for Mito, as well as buying a cloak, another cloak for Mito, even doing her hair for her, even though she can obviously do all that. They can do all that in. They can customize their hairstyles with the menu. She does her friend's hair herself. Like, we're seeing the same way that Asuna had her hair being done by Mito. And so I guess you can say that what they're implying between their relationship. It wouldn't be surprised if Asuna and Mito were very close prior to her falling. Probably we're close, but not in the same of they were in love with each other, is what I was trying to imply. But keep in mind, this is the same series where Asuna has a lot of art showing her very close to other girls. Alice, there's a lot of art with Alice, there's art with her and with her friends like Liz and Silica, Shinon, Lifa. Asuna is a chick magnet, and I think that's probably why everyone kind of just sticks around her. So, because to go into Mito and Asuna's relationship, I go to spoiler territory. So let me talk about a little bit of things I enjoyed about the movie as well. The animation was great. It's hard to believe that this was it's hard to believe how far SEO's come. It came from how Aincrad looked back in 2012 to seeing it come to life again in theaters. And considering I was watching on a big screen, and I was watching in the center of the movie to look at it, and it was really cool just to see how beautiful the areas were, seeing places we never got a chance to see when in the upper first floor, and just seeing a lot of these designs of these very some of these very almost dangerous monsters, like the plant monsters, or we're kind of getting a lot more of things that Mito explains to Asuna when it comes to playing SEO. As well as one thing that will also be the thing that bites Kirito very well is booby traps. So let's go into, I guess, a spoiler segment, because this is kind of where I have to talk about Mito a bit more, because but the movie is focused on Asuna and Mito, up to the point that with Mito's, I guess you could say, well, I'll get to that soon. So let's begin. So I'm gonna start the spoiler segment now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's begin. But the spoiler segment is of this review. So it's revealed that Mito was the one that kind of encouraged Asuna to be part of SCL. Now we know that Asuna, well, it's not known by many, that Asuna was using her brother's nerve gear as her copy of SCL as he was going on a business trip. Asuna, of course, dives in, and of course, because she's very new to these games, she makes her avatar look like herself. She was axing where Mito was, but using her real name as Sumi. And her main focus much was entrance exams. Trust me, I kind of got a bit of that from reading the progressive manga. That's the one thing that was on her mind. Asuna's a weird person. Now, one thing I think a lot of people were kind of having there was a lot of ideas of red flags that Mito betrayed, but Mito was trying to get Asuna killed or was betraying Asuna. I think this movie has kind of put all those theories to bed and doesn't paint Mito in the same vein as Kirito. Both kind of just making decisions that they both didn't want. It's revealed that for obvious reasons, like from the trailer, we've seen that Asuna has almost faced death before. First was the wolf we saw in first one of the trailers, where it was basically almost trying to kill her, and obviously the plants. The plants moment was the moment that Mito, believing that Asuna was going to die, and there's no way she could save her, as well as saving herself. She, of course, abandons Asuna, fearing that she's going to die. And of course, this is where Kirito comes to Asuna's aid the first time and the second time in the dungeon. The part that we didn't get seen adapted before when Aria of A Starless was adapted in the anime before. So this really does make me believe that Mito is in the same sense the reverse Kirito. Both are she's a beta tester. She's just like Kirito, a beta tester who obviously made a choice that obviously made a choice that something she didn't really like. Same way to Kirito, he obviously wanted to leave Klein, but Klein didn't want to leave his friends, so Klein was for Kirito. He felt like he was abandoning Klein, and which kind of leads to, one of the things that Kirito regrets. So, there's now another thing you've probably been asking yourself is, does Mito die in this movie? Oh no, is she fated to have the same fate as many other characters who have died in SCL? Well, The thing I would say is that I do not really believe that Mito is gonna die anytime soon. Because I think it's safe to say Mito is gonna be sticking around pretty long going into the progressive movies, serving kind of a somewhat like supporting role and maybe a bit of a recurring role. Going into the events of probably how it will go into the events of how Asuna will join Knights of Blood. And I confirm to you that Mito is alive. Mito did not. As much as it seemed like every chance it seemed that Mito was going to die, Mito is still able to kind of keep on fighting. And kind of proving that it does seem like they're keeping her around. And I think she's going to have the same kind of role and introduction to the main series as Eiji and Yuna did. And she's always, it seems like Mito does want to apologize to Asuna, but I think it's safe to say that the two will patch up soon, and I think that we'll see the eye to eye again. I think obviously that for Asuna, Mito is going to follow her path. Asuna's going to follow her path following Kirito, and I would say Mito is going to follow her path for a little while. And probably will start working with Kirito and Asuna and probably Argo, who, yes, Argo is in the movie. She turns up at the end. And that is going to be her role. I think that what comes to her role is she's going to be the supportive character, the supporting role, and kind of increase our main characters to 4. So we have 4 characters, Kirito, Asuna, Argo, and Mito. But you got 3 beta testers basically, and a rookie. So now with the spoiler segment and the fate of the characters, let's go into what I think is going to be the role of Mito going forward. I think this episode Mito is going to serve a pretty supportive character role in the movies. And probably someone who both looks after Asuna and helps out in the raids from time to time. And she still helps out and sometimes helps out Kirito and Asuna when there's something going wrong. I think she's gonna play a major role in the blacksmith scam that happens in Floor 2 that I did read in the first volume Aria of Progressive. I think that Mito is going to fill in the gaps of things we didn't really know about single players in the game. We know that Asuna had to learn about the whole FMX code mentioned in Volume 1 of SCO from someone from the guild. She had to learn from a girl because why would a younger member of the guild or an adult tell this to a 17-year-old of all people? So I think it's episode Mito is the one that told Asuna because we're filling in the gaps of things we don't know. And I think it's episode Mito is going to fill in a lot of gaps when it comes to Asuna's naivete. So what is Mito's role going into the main series? As we already know, Mito is not anywhere in the main series, but it's the same way as we don't see Yuna and Eiji in the main series up until the mention of the Agma mentioned in the first book of the Unanimate arc. I think the biggest reason why we probably are going to see another release of a volume of United Ring is going to be another time of Asuna back in the real world and us having a proper introduction to Mito, thus tying together Progressive and the main series. And we're gonna see she's doing well. She's another student from school. She, interacts with Kirito and company from time to time, but she's doing her own thing and letting Asuna have her new life, her new friends, and her boyfriend, and stays out of that kind of third wheeling that would probably be fun. That's what I think Mito is. That's why I think that we are going to see a confirmation of Mito in the main series. But I think that I think Reki is going to probably keep a lot of the Mito stuff very light until he wants to properly introduce her to the main story. Because he's the one that actually did make her, so at this point he's not going to have her killed off, just like Yujiro and Sachi and Yuna and Miyuki. So I think that's going to be the case. So, my final thoughts on this movie. This is I really love the new stuff where we see Asuna. While Kirito played more of a side role in this movie, like his stuff is he turns up in the second half of the movie, and it's now kind of, it's just seeing like the almost feeling of nostalgia, seeing these two interact again, and just that reminder that Asuna's scary when it comes to Kirito, when it comes to her putting Kirito's collar when she's serious. It's gonna be good to see. Can't wait for the 5th floor event, because I am curious about that. I am curious about when are they going to cover floor 2 for 4, but I think that's gonna be when the Elven War mission is complete and progressive. Then we're gonna come back to those. And those will probably be adapted into a TV movie type story, maybe. I mean, I can see them doing it. I can see them do progressive as a short series to fill in the gaps of two of the movies, maybe. But we'll see. So, no, there's not going to be any ratings. There's not going to be any like, oh, you should see it, you should stream it, you should rent it, you should buy it. No, this is just good. This review is just going to say, this is a good movie. I highly recommend it to any fan of SEO. I really recommend people seeing this. Give us a shot. Don't think, oh, it's going to be bad because of the squeamish stuff of SEO. Please check this movie out and really help get more people to see this, because right now there are only a few places where you can watch it, especially in your own state. Make sure you find out where it's playing, and we hope that we can see the dubbed version soon, and we can see the cast of that one, because a lot of the hard work for both sides is on this movie, and I can't wait to see this movie come out. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to really enjoy watching it again, and I might do another review, and once I kind of will talk more of what I think Mito's role will be, and I'll talk more about what I think she can fit in the main series, and I might do a separate video about that, probably in due time, but I'm going to probably keep a lot of the spoilers about Mito, and I can't very light, as I don't want to spoil it on my own timeline on Twitter. So, that's really it for this review. So, I'll probably be back again doing more. So, from me, OP Roxas 99, saying, take care, have a great day. Bye.